Hello, John Squared here. Today I will be reviewing Lenovo's new gaming laptop, Legion Y530. Sadly, as there are no GTX 1060 options, I will be reviewing the 1050 Ti model. The design has been changed radically from last year's Y520 to a more subtle and less of a gamery look. One of the biggest points in design is that the hinge is moved forward from the back of the laptop. The advantages of the design is that the screen will never block the exhaust ports, and the internal space can be larger without making the bezels any larger. However, even with this hinge design, the bottom bezel is still larger than the Pacific Ocean, and the vertical size is among the largest in 15-inch laptops. The design seems to be more towards giving a subtle and black-out look, much like their premium office lineup, the ThinkPads. The finish is mostly matte plastic, and the corners are less rounded off and more sharp. The top panel has a plastic finish with a round texture surrounding the Legion logo, which the O lights up. Palm rest is matte plastic, which feels like rubber, and unfortunately attracts fingerprints quite easily. The bezel and bottom panel is matte plastic. The weight is 2.3 kilograms, and along with the bundled 135-watt power brick, the portability is average. One thing to note in thermals is the high CPU temperature. The fan noise isn't too loud even on max load, but the CPU does reach 95 degrees quite easily. As the cooling solution doesn't seem particularly lacking, and the temperature rise almost instantaneous, this steep climb could indicate the use of low-quality thermal paste. During gaming load tested on Mirror's Edge, the CPU went up to a pretty high temperature of 86 to 90 degrees. The fan noise measurement isn't too quiet at 52 decibels, but as the fan has a low-pitched sound, it isn't too distracting and it is easy to tune out the noise. Also, due to the conservative fan curve, the fan does not start spinning out in the blue or when it isn't necessary. However, the conservative fan curve does lead to GPU throttling in certain situations. When you only put load on the GPU, the fan does not spin fast enough, pushing the GPU temperature beyond the throttling limit of 84 degrees. This also leads to a slight decrease in performance. The performance of the GTX 1050 Ti is about 2/3 of 1060, making it suitable for 1080p gaming with medium to high settings. The problem with the cooling isn't just limited to the fan curve. The laptop has really low rubber feet that are also blocking the back, suffocating the fans. Lifting the back up about 1.5 to 1 centimeter leads to a massive improvement of about 10 degrees drop in GPU temperatures. The CPU sees about a 7 degrees drop in average as well. There will be a noise test.
30cm 정도의 거리에서 말하는 일반적인 목소리의 크기입니다.
The port selection is fairly average for a mid-range gaming laptop. The audio jack and 2 USB-A ports are on the side, and the rest are at the back of the laptop. It lacks Thunderbolt, but is normal at this early $1,000 price point. While the battery has been bumped up 20% from 45 watt-hours to 53 watt-hours, it is not class-leading by any means. Battery time is average, hitting 3.5 hours on PC Mark 8 and about 5 hours in video continuous playback. We did not do the side-by-side test of the display as we are tired and pissed of seeing this panel. This is the 6th time we've seen this panel used on laptops and it is quite frustrating. This panel cannot display saturated colors, It's dark and just abominable. It is reminiscent of a 10-year-old iPhone 3GS screen. With it, the premium looks made by the whole blacked out matte plastic ThinkPad design is completely thrown out the window, giving it a bottom budget look. It also makes the laptop unsuitable for tasks such as media consumption or video editing. Of course, every other budget gaming laptop has this display, so I'm not harping on Lenovo alone. But if you're pricing this laptop alongside other laptops which have much better screens and marketing it as a premium laptop, a better screen is definitely needed. The keyboard is good as expected from Lenovo. The long travel and nice damping makes it a pleasure to type on and is also quiet. The keyboard has full-size keys and separate arrow keys that are full-size. This makes it possible to have full right shift and control keys. The LEDs are bluish-white with 3-stage lighting. The trackpad is plastic, and while it tracks nice, it sticks onto the fingers and is prone to soiling. With sweaty hands like mine, the trackpad was covered with splotches within an hour. It is easy to wipe away, but I wish it had a better coating to prevent fingerprinting so easily. The speakers are 45 degrees front and downward firing and are decent except for the lack of bass that is usual with small speakers. There is still some bass under 500Hz, but still nothing under 200Hz. Also, as the drivers are fairly small and use software tuning to produce bass, a lot of harmonic distortion in the mids can be seen, muddying the sound quite significantly. In short, the laptop falls behind with the poor display, mediocre battery life, and high CPU temperature. The pros are relatively muted and quiet fan noise, a comfortable keyboard, and a muted look which some may prefer over a more overtly gamery design. The issue I see with this laptop is price and positioning, as the i7-8750H and 1050 Ti model is in the same price group as the MSI GP63 and Asus GL503GE with the same configuration. If you place emphasis on design and how it feels, go with whatever suits you the best. Also, the Asus GL503 is quite noisy. But both laptops, despite being very similar and sometimes even cheaper in price, have a vastly superior screen and better cooling. As battery life is similar and there are no glaring issues with both alternatives, if the Lenovo keyboard and design isn't too important to you, these two may be better choices. This was John Squared, and thank you for watching. Next video will be about why you don't need a laptop cooler and how to decrease your laptop thermals with a fairly cheap and easy trick. This was John Squared.